Okay, so in video 1, we talked about how to brainstorm specific topics with regard to blogs. So we're not just looking at blogs and we're not just looking at your topic, but the goal for the assignment, the goal for your research paper is to get to this part, which is the analysis. All right? So we're not just looking at blogs, we're not just looking at our topic. Mine, of course, is Crohn's disease. But then how are these two topics bridged together? So then we can begin to ask ourselves these questions. And what this brainstorming, what the second part of this brainstorming activity does is to begin to help you think about your thesis statement. Because you need to develop a thesis statement so that you can provide some direction for yourself and for your reader for your research paper. So when I bridge these two ideas together, some of the questions I might ask myself might be, how are blogs used to connect individuals with Crohn's disease? What kinds of information do physicians and or researchers communicate to patients with Crohn's disease using blogs? How is blogging a way for patients with Crohn's disease to relieve stress and not feel isolated? So once we've come up with our questions, now we have a place to begin to start thinking about how we're going to research this topic or what we're going to research with regard to this topic. And if you remember, in class Monday, Mr. Daniels talked to us about locating resources for research. So if you click on this link, this presentation comes up, this PowerPoint presentation comes up, which is what he presented in class. You need to review this so that you can get more information or review the information he presented on how to locate resources. And remember, he gave us 2 ways to do that. One is to use our library databases, and if you remember, to access those, you go to our website, you click on Library, you click on Electronic Resources. He did language and literature. That might limit you because although blogs deal with language and literature, perhaps your topic may not. So you can click this, or you can click all subjects, or do, both. Academic Search Complete is one of the databases that he recommended. And then this page comes up, and remember he talked about Boolean phrases. So, you might type blogging here, and we have self-expression. I don't know. Oops. Okay. And then remember, he told us to limit it to full text and scholarly peer-reviewed journals. And to make the date, come on, I'll have to just type it in here. Perhaps we'll start at 2010 and go to 2017. Okay? So you might be able to go through these 4. So notice it narrowed it down drastically. I'm not sure if I could use any of these, but that's just one way to narrow your search. Perhaps we did blogging and the purpose of, because that's one of our questions, like what is the purpose of blogging? Here's something. Coping through blogging, a review of studies on the potential benefits of weblogs for stress reduction. So that might be something that I could use for my particular topic because it deals with people with Crohn's disease. So perhaps blogging could be used as a means for them to reduce stress. I don't know. I would have to read this, of course, to find out if in fact it would work to support my argument. But that is just one of the resources you could use to help you find sources for your assignment. Another way is, of course, Google search. And remember, he talked to us about how to search Google and find scholarly articles. depending upon the way you type in your search. So let's just say we would type in file type, and we want the file type to be PDFs, okay? And then we want the site. Remember, he talked to us about which sites were more reliable. So it would be sites that have the domain .edu or .gov or .org. So we might want to type in .org, and then we might type blogging, and we want to put the Boolean phrase in parentheses, communication. Okay. Notice all of them are PDFs, and all of them are .org, which is .organization. Okay. So we could go, why we blog. Just gives you all sorts of information about blogging. Some of these I may be able to use. Some of them I may not be able to use. I would just have to scroll through and find out which ones are going to, again, work to support my argument. I might want to change the site to perhaps .edu. And again, I'm still getting the same file type, which are PDFs, but this time the domain is .edu. Well, that one's not. That one is. Okay? So this is how you can search using just a normal website. Okay? That's another way. So remember to review this presentation to find out how that's done. Okay? Once you have compiled your sources, and you're going to need 6 sources, at least 6 sources for this particular assignment. 4 of those sources need to be secondary sources, and 2 of those sources need to be primary sources. So your primary sources are going to be your actual blogs, and then your secondary sources are going to be information about blogging. Because the difference between a primary source and a secondary source is a primary source is where a person gives an original account of a particular issue or of a particular topic. So if we think about blogging, that is where individuals are giving their own account of that particular topic. A secondary source, however, is where a person analyzes or interprets the primary source. So what is the research out there saying about blogs? So the researcher will have looked at tons and tons of blogs and then made an assessment, done an analysis, or come up with some interpretation of what he or she believes about blogs. So you're going to need 4 sources, 4 secondary sources, and 2 primary sources. Again, the primary sources will be the blogs themselves, and then the secondary sources will be the research about the blogs. What is research saying about blogs? Not your blogs, but just blogs in general. Okay? And then using those sources, you're going to create an annotated bibliography. I will have an assignment actually, which details what you're going to be doing for that annotated bibliography, what it should entail, what it should have. That assignment will be in Blackboard, so look for that.